It's been a long time, y'all. So, why it's been a long time since I've posted anything is because I've been doing my transition into my 20 months of traveling, and the first 2 days were mainly just jet lag, and well, not jet lag, but the traveling. So traveling for 24 hours, and I uh I think I left at 7:30 April 2nd, got back April 3rd at no, not got back. I arrived in Budapest on April 3rd at like 6:30, and then didn't get to my hostel until about 8 o'clock. So that day, totally not. No. And then next couple days was jet lag, and then had some personal things happened as well. And then this was the first, uh, aside from yesterday, first day I was able to actually settle into a routine. Um, I wouldn't say it's concrete or the routine has really really settled in and made it concrete because of course I'm going to Krakow, Poland next Monday. So it's going to be uh, next couple days are going to be experiments of how I want to do this because right now I'm walking so much that I get back to the hostel and I just conk out. I'm tired. So I take a long nap and don't even realize it. And then I get up and I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to record something. When it's still daylight outside. So we're going to be experimenting working on that and seeing how best to do that in the next couple of days in Budapest before I go to Krakow. Um, for the philosophy side today, I wanted to revisit actually my first episode of these vlogs, and it's why I travel. I think in that video I talked about how I wanted to. Oh, that was a cool bird. Did you see that? Wanted to contrast my values, my perspective with other cultures, so I can. Oh my God, is that a no, okay. I thought my phone cracked. But to contrast my values and my perspective with other cultures so I can get a better, broader understanding of the world. I think the metaphor I used was the uh, Galilean theory that Farnham Street, wonderful blog, used. And it's the idea that we're all have our specific per or uh, perspectives, and they're very limited. And we can see that through being on a ship, but being below its deck, and only being able to see the inside deck of the ship. That's our perspective. And we have to actually get outside the ship and get a perspective from the fish's view or the seagull's view or an animal outside of the ship to be able to see the different perspectives and the different uh, areas and the information and different customs, the courtesies, and also the different and ways of thinking it by getting out of the ship or even getting on a different level of the ship. If we just stay at the below deck, we're never going to get the full picture. And that's what traveling does. It helps us get out of our perspective, come from a different perspective, different culture, to understand the world a little better and also maybe find similarities between each other and our perspectives and our culture, and to find, of course, differences between them as well. I think that's the first thing I talked about during our the first video. The second thing I wanted to talk about is if you're doing a trip like mine, uh, something that's a month or more, I would say, or if you're doing a trip that's not vacation like. So that means staying in a hotel that they're feeding you every day in the morning. If doing all inclusives, if you're actually going into an environment where it's chaotic, where it's you're living in the that culture that your country is that you're visiting is, if you're doing some kind of backpacking, if you're doing some kind of RVing too. That brings in another lesson I'm realizing is your life becomes chaotic. And within that chaos, it's kind of unsettling, but there comes a lot of different opportunities and different ways of looking at your life and different ways of, okay, how can I do this better? How can I what do I actually like from uh, my life? What things can I reflect on and can do better on? What things do I actually like? Hey, what things did I think I like but actually dislike? For example, I I didn't know how much liked cafes, and in uh, I used to go in America all the time to cafes, but to be able to be in Europe and at least Hungary and specifically, and be able to walk to a cafe and sit down and enjoy yourself, enjoy the camaraderie around you, and to know that there's multiple cafes you can and choose from, and it's part of the culture to settle down and just chill and uh, do whatever you need to do is very refreshing for me. That's something that is a like that has been reinforced during this traveling because of just my willingness to just head into chaos, the chaos of traveling, and realizing that I find comfort in these cafes. Even though I'm paying a lot of money for the coffee, I don't care. I go to chit chat, and that's another thing I learned too from one of my friends I met here is how cafes are thought of in Europe not as places to go eat or drink your coffee or your beer or whatever. They're actually places to socialize. People go to cafes not to drink the coffee, not to uh, snack, but to socialize. That is their reason for going. Whereas in America, it's mostly we go to cafes or to coffee shops to get coffee. That's why there's not at least in my experience, not as many sit down cafes in America and more to go cafes. Um, you see that with um, Dutch Brothers, Starbucks, and different coffee chains in America. Whereas in Europe, it's more traditional cafes, and even the chain cafes are ones that you sit down. I think there's one called Madal, Madal, that it's there's the cat. That it's a chain, but man, it was so amazing. They brought my coffee out on a little platter with a little spoon and a wooden platter that had pretty much said I think it said good coffee, good karma. That's what. So what I'm trying to say is that travel is so useful if you use it right. It's useful to reveal more of your personality through upending your life and your routine to be able to carve out space for new routines, new likes and new revealing of likes and dislikes, and the opportunity to create new routines from that emptiness, that the chaos, emptiness from your original routines. I don't know if I said that well enough, but who cares? Anyways, this so that's pretty much it. I want to kind of do a little bit more on testing out, because that's a way better view. So I'm gonna have to find something to put on top of this instead of my books to get a view like this instead of this, because this kind of sucks. So I'm gonna be working on that, testing things out and seeing what I can use in the hostels. But other than that, I'm actually gonna post this one. So I will see y'all later. See you tomorrow. Should be tomorrow. Bye.